Recording. So hello everybody, welcome on our webinar for RouteYou for beginners. I'm Pascal Brakman, I'm co-founder of RouteYou, and I will introduce you Rein Simoen later on. So we're going to talk about a basic introduction on RouteYou for beginners. So we don't assume that you know RouteYou yet, but you just want to learn the functionality. So we're splitting this beginner's course in two parts. One of them is finding routes, searching for routes and using them. So that's for tonight. There's another one coming up in a few weeks for creating your own routes. So we're only going to discuss a very specific part of the functionality this evening. The microphone on your side is normally switched off, which means you can't ask questions via the microphone, but you can ask questions via the chat function in the black bar at the bottom or the top of your screen. So that chat function you can use to ask questions, and we are watching those questions and we are answering them straight on. Rein is doing that right now. So here is Rein. So you will hear and see more of her later on. Do you have to take notes? No, because we are recording this webinar, and that's the moment I always check if the recording is going fine. And it does. And we will send you the recorded version the coming days, probably within 2 or 3 days, the latest. So that video will be stored on YouTube. So you can follow our YouTube channel by just becoming a member of our YouTube channel. And then you stay up to date with new videos. So you're very welcome of doing so. Let me introduce you what we're going to cover tonight, because we provide with RouteYou the full circle of the route, which means that we start with the functionality of the preparation phase. And the preparation phase is the phase before you're going to walk or cycle or drive a route. You're going to try to search for a route, to find a route which is suitable for you. So that's one part of the preparation phase. The other part, which we will discuss in the next webinar, is about you want to create yourself your routes, for instance, for a holiday or for plans you have in the future. So that's also the preparation phase. The second part, which we will cover tonight also, is how do you make use of a route you found? And the usage can be on smartphone, but it can also be on paper, as we will see, or on GPS. So those two parts which we will cover tonight. What we will not cover is the post experience, which is normally when you, for instance, follow the route, you can record your route, you can edit your routes, you can add pictures from your route towards the route, and so on. So that's the post experience, or it can also include an analysis and an improvement from your recorded route versus the previous route, or from statistics. So this part we will not cover tonight. We will focus on the two parts, the preparation phase and usage phase. As I said, if you want to learn more about creating your own routes, because that's also possible with RouteYou, we have a webinar about this the 1st of February at 8:30. So you're welcome there too. We show you later on how you can register for those webinars. So what's the agenda for tonight? Well, Rein will start showing you how you register and log in. So, so we know who you are, but then most importantly, that you can store your own routes, routes you like or things you do. So that's the registration and login phase. The second part and the main part will be about how do I find now a suitable route for me on my computer as the first part, but you can do that also straight away from your smartphone. And the third one will cover the extra filter options which are available in trying to find the perfect route for you. The next part is about using the route. So we're going to first classically look at the prints on paper, but we will also look on smartphone and GPS. And we will end up with frequently asked questions or questions which came along during this webinar. So that's the agenda for tonight. So I'm going to pass on the word to Rein. Rain, I think I stopped my screen to share.
And normally you should be able to see my screen now.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes, okay, perfect. So good evening, everybody, and welcome. I will cover the first part, and let's start at the beginning, and that's how can you register on RouteYou, or and then afterwards log in. So this is our platform. You can register by clicking the main menu here, and then go to login. This takes you to this screen, and here, if you have already a login, you can use it here. Or if you don't have a RouteYou account yet, you can register here the new RouteYou account. It's pretty straightforward. You can enter an account name, an email address, a password, your preferred language. Actually, when you, because that was already a question in the chat, you can indicate it here immediately, but I will show you in a few minutes where you can adjust it in your profile as well. And then you can enter your country as well, and if you want to receive the newsletter. Then you can register. I will now log in, for example. If I log in with a free account, let's say, and I will put it on English because it's a Dutch account. Then this is a free account. Why would you register? Why would you take an account? Because even without an account, you can use RouteYou, you can find routes, you can plan a route, you can use a route, but there are limitations. And the first, maybe more annoying thing is that you have a lot of ads. So advertisement. Also, you can register and then you have a free account. You will still have the advertisement, but you will also have some extra functionality. Things you can do when you are logged in with a free account is save routes, POIs, or favorites. You can save them and store them under your My RouteYou channel. So that is your space within RouteYou, and here you can keep track of routes that you, or POIs, or anything else that you have stored. You can upload routes, then you can create, for example, groups or events of news, which you can't do with when you don't have an account. And also, if you have an account, you can consult things like your statistics. You can add comments to other routes and stuff like that. I'm going to show you now in your profile because there are people present that actually speak Dutch, but we had the Dutch webinar an hour and a half ago. So it's important if you want to be addressed by RouteYou in the correct language, you go to your profile and you have your preferences here and you can enter your preferred language. So this was my free account. It was on Dutch. So if I put it now on English, I will receive all communication in English. I will log out. Oh no, I wanted to show you, sorry. If you want to have a paid account, you can click the upgrade button here, or in the main menu, you also have the upgrade button. That brings you to this window, and it's in Dutch again because this account is in Dutch, but now we have it in English. So here you can see, and you can click through to know what all are the extra functionalities you have. So, advantages of a Plus account in the first place is that you don't have any advertisement anymore. The website is faster in usage. You can download routes for offline use Google Maps, change the routes of others, use reference routes, and many more. If you click here, I will open it in a new tab. Then you get an overview of the advantages of a Plus account. And then here at the bottom of this page, you get a table view, and you get an overview of all the advantages according to which type of account you paid for. If you don't know if that's what you need or what you want, know that you can always try it for free. You just click here and then it will be activated. And then for 2 weeks, you can use a Plus account for free without any obligations, or you don't even have to enter any payment data of yourself. So that's completely free and easy to use. And afterwards, if you don't want to prolong it, you can just let it stop and we won't force you to any payments. So now I'm going to log out and log in with my RouteYou Plus account. because that's a bit easier. Then we don't have any advertisements and we won't be disturbed. So, okay, so the first thing we want to show you this evening is how you can find a route on RouteYou. So there are several ways to go to our RouteFinder. The easiest way and the consistent way, no matter on what kind of device you're on, is always the main menu. So you have it here on the top left of your screen, and then it opens the main menu and you can go here and search for a route. So this brings you here. I'm gonna clear our filters. Or another way, we also have in our new design some shortcuts, like the one here on top of this window. And that also gives you a straight link to the RouteViewer. And another one is here, the Discover button. And also this one takes you to the RouteFinder here. These different options are available because, again, depending on the device you're using RouteYou on, you will see different things. I will demonstrate this a bit. Here you can see, for example, RouteYou in a tablet view. Here we also have the different option. If I now flip the tablet, you will see that those buttons on top, they will disappear. Also, that's the same thing for example, in a smartphone view, then you won't have those shortcuts here at the top, but you will always be able to go to the RouteFinder via search for a route, or if you're on the home page, you can use this Discover button. So that's that. Let's now go to the route search or the RouteFinder, and let me tell you some things about this. I will quickly, because it was still active, sorry for that. So there are three basic filters here, and the first one is actually the map itself. So have a look at this list here and what happens to it if I zoom in to a certain area, or if I pan the map to another area, then you will see that the list will adjust accordingly. So the map actually functions as a filter as well. That's important because sometimes people enter a lot of filters and then they don't get the result they want, and then they're in panic. But that's 9 times out of 10 because of the fact that the map is not zoomed or panned to the right location. So what else can I tell you about the map? Well, another handy functionality is here on the left top of the map. If you zoom in to the map, let's say there's always an indication here in the left how many routes are available in the window here. So I could say that I want to keep this selection of 14 routes, even if I move my map. To do that, I unclick this button here. And then even if I zoom out and pan the map, no new routes will come available. You can see it here. It's still the 14 routes I have found. But what is the fact with these? They are quite big. That's why even if I zoom out, it seems like something strange here. We'll have to delete it later, but you can see it are long routes, because if you are zoomed into a certain area, the ones that we show you are not only the routes that are completely within this window, but also the ones that go through this window. So that's why if you zoom out, you can see now it's completely within this screen or within this area. If you want to just adapt it again and say, okay, I changed my area and I changed my mind, I want different routes, then you can activate it again and say search within this window, and then again activate it, that the list adjusts itself according to your movement here on the map. What else? Well, you have some icons here on the top right as well, some handy ones. You can, for example, use this one to go to full screen and optimal usage of the map. And then the second one is about locating yourself. So this is a very handy button. Let's say that you're on RouteYou and you just want to quickly find a route in your vicinity. Well, then you can click this button here and it will make the map zoom and pan to your location. So this is where I'm at the moment. and the map will show me and will zoom the map to that location. So that's an easy way to find routes in your vicinity because it's a filter, and now only the routes that go through this window or are completely within this window will show up in this list here. Another thing you can do is use this magnifying glass field. It's a search field. So here I can enter a location. Let's say I want to go to London. Well, then I can just enter London here, and then it will show up like this. Or maybe I want to enter a specific address, like Drury Lane 1 in London. And I hope, yeah, and then it will zoom in to Drury Lane here, exactly that location on the map. So here you can enter an address or a more bigger location or an area or a region or something like that, and the map will zoom to it. You can zoom in, zoom out. I will show you later on where you can find all the information about this and how to use it in our help. But one more thing I want to show you is that the last button here, or the last icon, and that's an interesting one because you can use it to change your map style. So we have different backgrounds you can use. That's the first selection of layers here. So you can use OpenStreetMap, or if you have a Plus account, you can use Google Map or Google Satellite, or maybe one of the others. It can adjust itself according to the maps that are available. If I now, for example, zoom out, let's zoom out all the way out and go to Belgium, then you will see that for Belgium, we have the topo map available. So I can now ask to show me the topo map, but it's only available for Belgium, of course. So outside of this area, it won't be available as an option. So this is interesting. What's next to the background maps, you also have some layers you can activate. For example, the long distance walking network, the GR network, or maybe you are interested in the cycling nodes. Well, you can activate those as well. And for the places they're available, they will show up. And this is cumulative. So you can activate multiple layers here, like the mountain bike network and maybe some road properties. So for the road properties, you have to zoom in enough to see them. You can see that they are popping up here. So that is how this works. Another interesting feature here is this tilt. It gives you kind of different perspective on the map, and that can come in very handy when you're navigating, because for some people, it gives them a better view or a better option to navigate and to orient themselves. So back to the normal view now, and let's unselect the cycle node. So that's about the first filter, which is the map itself. Then if you go to the search module here on the left, the next thing I would expect you want to do is that you choose a certain type here. So you can choose to only, for example, show hiking routes. And for that, you can use the icon. So they give you an indication of which types of routes you can expect. So for example, here, it's all about walking. So here you can have a main type, which is walking route, but can also go more detail, like a hiking route, which will normally be routes that you will definitely need boots for, or maybe on a longer distance, or maybe you want to go jogging, things like that. You can select it here. Same thing if you want to use a cycle route. Also here we have different options. Maybe you're not interested in recreational cycle routes, but you want a mountain bike route or a gravel bike route. So as you can see, there are many options here. You can go through them all. We have motorcycle routes, horse riding routes, boat routes, and then a lot of other things like car rides, inline skating, and things like that. So go and try to use them all, or try to select the ones that you need. So that's the second basic filter you can use to quickly find a route or select the routes that you need. And then we have one more here, and that's a search field. And as you can see here, you can search on location, on author, and on a description. And you see, from the moment I click it here, I get two options available. Like one is linked to location, and it gives you the option to immediately go to your position. And the other is linked to the author. If, let's say, I only want to see the routes that I have made before, well, and then I can click only show my routes. And then the system will only show the routes that I have made within this map area. So that can come in pretty handy. You can clear it with this cross here. Another way to use it is, for example, if I start typing, let's say, hill, then the system will try to match it with things that we have stored in our database. And that will be, again, on those three types. So first of all, I get some suggestions on location. So there's a hill in the United States. That's not where I want to go. There's a hill that's located and that's linked to water some kinds. Also not what I was looking for. Then here I get an overview of authors that have hill in their name. So that can be come in handy, or I can use it as a term as such. And what the system does then, oh, nothing available here. Bad example, sorry for that. Maybe if I use, let's say, water. What does the system do now? Well, it goes searching in the title or in the description here for the word water. So that's how it works. You could also use blossom or things like that. Again, no example, sorry for that. Probably, yeah, that's because I was still selected as an author. So as you can see here, I have a lot more options now. If I use Blossom, you could say, but why does it show Blossom for this route, for example? Well, if I would go through the information, then somewhere in it, then water will be mentioned, or Blossom will be mentioned, sorry. So that is how that works. Or maybe you are looking for a certain author that isn't yourself. For example, Dromos is one that I know. Then I can enter Dromos, and there he is. If I click this now, then only the routes of Dromos will be shown on the map and in the list. So that is how that works. Then about the things that are visible now. So you have the list here. It's indicated how many routes that are in the list. But as you can see, not all 257 routes are shown here as an icon. We do that for purposes of how do you say it, performance. So if you would completely cover the map with icons, your computer would go very slowly, or your telephone. But we only show like 20 or 30 icons. But as you pan or zoom in, they will adjust. So if I zoom in here, you would expect there are maybe no icons here. But if I zoom in further, then you will see that new ones will pop up. What also works is here I have 97 routes. As I go through the list and scroll down, they will appear on the map and they will be visible. As you can see, more icons are added to the map the further I scroll down. So that is how that works. If you want to have a quick look at a certain route, for example, let's say this one here, then you can see some short practical information, like what's the title of your route, who's the author of the route, what's the score, and then some basic information like the length, the height meters, the average time it would take to do the route, and an indication of the difficulty of this route. If you want information in the sense of the description, well, you can click this button here, and then this description that is available will pop up here. The same for the icons on the map. You can see that there's some information in the icon actually. So you can see the route score, which type because of the icon. And then there's a color here, and that color is linked again to the difficulty. So the yellow one is, it's a route that we are categorized as medium. You also have easy or the blues is even easier and the black ones are difficult. Again, if I click this icon, then I get this same box as you have here in the list. And again, you can also here on the map go to the route description and see what is waiting for you there. So this is in short the basic functionalities of our RouteFinder on the desktop version. Let me now show you that it's actually the same on or very similar on a smartphone. So let's say I go to the web browser on my smartphone. I'm here in Google, and now on Google I want to search for RouteYou. If I enter it, then the first thing that pops up is RouteYou actually, which is nice. If I click it now, I get to the mobile version of the website. And if you want, you can also install the RouteYou app. You go to the main menu, and then here you have installed the RouteYou app. Pascal will come back to that a little later. But what I can tell you here, that it kind of works in the same way. So as I said before, no matter what device you are, you can use the main menu to go to the RouteFinder here via search for a route, or if you're on the home page, you can use the Discover button. So if I click it, I come to and remembers clear all filters. He remembers what I have done before. What's the difference between the desktop version and the smartphone version? Well, yeah, your device or the screen of your device is a lot smaller. So it's impossible for us to show you the list and the map next to it. So we added an extra button here. So you can toggle between the map and the list here. As you can see, if you want to show the map or you want to show the lists. All the other stuff, it works the same way. So if I zoom in or I zoom out on the map, then different things will be shown in the list. So that's still the same thing. Also, if I use other filters here, if I would enter location or if I say I only want touring motorcycle routes, well, if I select it here and then go to the map, only touring motorcycle icons and routes will be shown on the map as well. So that works in the same way as it does on desktop. You have kind of the same icons here with one difference, but I'll come back to that later on to show you. I'll go back to the route searcher here. So let me activate it again. And then I will go to this button now, because I showed you the basic filters, but we have more. If you click it here, then you will see the complete list of all filters that are available. You have the basic ones here as well. But let's say I want to, as I did before, find a touring motorcycle route. Well, I can now also indicate that I want a route that is between 100 and 150 kilometers. As you can see, the length bar, it has a beginning and an end, and it shows you all the routes with a distance that is in between. We often get the question, yeah, but what if I want to have a route that is longer than these 200 kilometers? Well, you simply move the latest or the last circle all the way to the end, and then you can see that 3 dots appear here. So in this case, he will show me all the routes that are longer than 158 kilometers long. So that's how that works. I can also indicate I want only routes that have a score that is higher than 4, or I can use other stuff like characteristics, which is an interesting one. So I could choose to, for example, only show me signposted routes or the ones that are loop shaped, or you can also use themes. Once you click outside of this filter module, then your preferences will be remembered. So the filters, there's an instant action link to that. If you have filters activated, as you have seen before, then a red dot appears to the filter knob. If you want to remove a filter, you go all the way up, and now you can choose to remove 1 or 2 filters, or you can use this button to clear them all. So again, I could say I'm looking for a walking route, and then let me go back to the characteristics. I want a signposted one, or maybe a loop-shaped one. And then you could say, are these the only characteristics you have? Oh no, it isn't. Because if you show more, you can see that we have a very long list available here for you. But these are the most popular ones. The same thing for themes. So you could say I only want to have routes that are linked to the theme of nature, or maybe I want to have a city walk or something like that. I can activate this, but again, the list is very long. Please go through it. It could be interesting for you. What other filters are available here? Well, we have, for example, the option to choose in which language you want the route, and then you have like difficulty level, which is an interesting one, for example, for road cyclists or mountain bikers. It's a fun way of playing with the difficulty, and for example, take a shorter route, which is more difficult, or take a longer route that is easier to ride. You can also toggle some other filters here, and then in the end choose to view the results. To give you more information on this, let me show you. If you go to the main menu and then to the help page, this brings you to our help environment, and then you can see here you have the option of searching a route, or you can also enter keywords, route, and search. And then here you have, for example, searching a route, and then you have a page which gives you all the information about our RouteFinder and what it all means. So if you would have missed some things I told you, or it's not clear, be aware that you can read it again via that way. And then one more thing I want to show you, if I go back to the smartphone version, well, be aware that here you can toggle between the map and the filters. So here you have the filter button. You can clear the filter. It's just exactly the same. But what is more is that you can also access it from the map. So if you are paying a very good attention, then you saw that there is an extra icon here on top. Well, that icon is available for you, that if you are in map mode on your smartphone, you can also access the filters and choose to activate some of them. And say, once you click outside, then the map will only show you the ones that are according to your filters. So that's for the first part. Pascal, I don't know if there are questions about that.
No, there are no questions. So I think we can switch to the second part.
Okay.
Yes. Can you confirm that you see my screen?
Yeah, perfectly.
Okay. Saw something disappearing. I'm gonna just recover it. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to show you also a combination of the RouteYou website and the mobile website of RouteYou and the app, and what's the difference and how you go from one to the other. So in the second part, we will show you, if you find a route, how can you make use of that route. So discovering or finding a route, you use the discover button. So I will do that again here. I get an overview of a certain area, and I'm going to start zooming in a certain area. So Rain showed you already, you can look for a place. I'm just going to use the map and zoom in here in the south west of the UK. I'm going to select a cycling route, in this case a race cycling route, and I'm going to be a bit more specific. I want, for instance, only a looped route, a loop-shaped route in that area. And I'm going to show you something extra. I can also filter on certain things, such as relevance in general, or in this case, I'm going to select score. So I'm only get the highest scores. And then if I go lower, I get lower scored routes. So I'm going to select one of the routes here available. And I thought I had a better one, race cycling. oh, recreational, that's what I wanted. I wanted a race cycling route. And I'm going to select this one, for instance, the Tour of North Devon. So the moment I have the route, you can start investigating if this is a useful route. How do you start investigating? Well, there's the height profile. So you see already the difficulty, the length. You can click on certain type of information to see if that's if there are interesting places you're going to pass. I'm going to pass by a museum, and I can also switch the maps here. I can switch to satellite imagery, or I can switch to the open cycle map and see other reference routes. So just play around with the map layers, which might be useful to investigate if that's an interesting route. The information column here on the right shows you the basic information the author gave you. We come back to navigate and print, but here you see also statistical information and other characteristics, such as it's a loop-shaped route. Most of the route has light traffic, so not heavy traffic, and it's 100% paved, which is useful for a race cycling road or a road bike road. So here you get the overall difficulty level Rein already discussed about, but in a bit more detail. So this has a 80% difficulty, and that's based on the score of the total ascent, the steepest slopes, and the length of the route. By the way, in your settings, you can change to miles if you would prefer that. And then you get the RouteYou media, or the route media, the author added, and the places of interest, which I also can see here. I can also select here. So just play around with the information. There's a lot of information there. There's also information of other people who might have reacted on the route. In this case, it's RouteYou itself who added information. The suitability, I see that the translation didn't work here. The suitability, what's the characteristics, and so on. So also that information is there. So that brings us to the second step. How can I now make use of the route? So this is a cycling route, but I'm going to first show you the print options. So the second button allows you to download and print and use it on smartphone. Those are the three most options. That's why we summarize them on top, but I'm going to cover them one by sub-selecting the items. So I'm first going to cover the prints. We're not going to go digital. We're first going to go to paper. And the first print I can have is an overview. You will notice this is almost 80 kilometers, that the overview is not very suitable to cover the complete route and execute it. Therefore, we have another solution, which I show immediately. The overview route, that's the one. Here I see an indication where it is, somewhere in Britain, and I get the complete route with the height profile and the information. But you will agree that I approximately can see how I should go, but this is not very detailed. This is not detailed enough to do the complete route. I could go back to digital in this case, and then I will have the more details. But I will show you another alternative. We also have a Roadbook. And the Roadbook gives you much more detail, as you will see. I'm not covering all the options which you have in every print. Just play around with the more options, and there I think it's pretty straightforward to see what's available. So you see now that the route is cut in pieces, and the first piece covers the first part, and you see already some reference roads in the city, so I can orient myself much better. If the first route finishes at the end, at the border, I can switch to the second piece. If the second piece finishes, I can go to the third piece. You have the arrow indicators, how you have to drive, but there are also chevrons, which indicate in black and white if it's up or down. So it gives you the grade of descent and the grade of ascent as shown here. Again, there's the QR code, which we will come back to it later on. you understand the principle. So I go from map 5 to map 6, from map 6 to map 7, and so on till I reach the end. So you could have quite some pages, but most of the time in a few A4 or A4 or A5 pages, you will get the complete route. When the maps are finished, you also get the analog road description. You make a sharp right on Ropery Road, on Wilder Road, and so on. And that gives you all the information, also the expected time you will be there. If you cycle, in this case, it's a road bike, it will be 25 kilometers an hour we are expecting. So that's the Roadbook. So gives you the most detailed information. It's nice as a backup. Most of the cyclists probably use a GPS or a smartphone. For hikers, paper is still popular. Also for recreational cyclists, it might be a nice alternative. That doesn't give me all the points of interest information I got here. With all this interesting information the author added to the route, how can I take that along? Well, to use that, you switch to the guide. So the guide is the last option I have here available. And that's been now instructed and printed. And that takes a bit longer because it also collects pictures and stuff. So here you have the author or the organization behind it being GeoHopper, and this is the tour and the title, the logo they have, and then some information of what you will see along the route. The second page shows you that overview print, so you get an indication where you are. And here you have the profile information of your route, so you see it's going to be quite challenging to cover some parts. The colors indicate the steepness of the slope. And then you have all that detailed information, what you see along your route. Let me take one in detail. For instance, this one, the hole you pass on kilometer 32 or 32.5, and that's number 3 on the map. So if you go back to the map, you will see that this is the place they're talking about. So that's how you switch between the two. So this might be useful because you probably would like to read a little bit in the evening or or during your break, if you stop for a drink, to read what you will see or what you saw. And again, here you have back the QR code and this type of code. So how do I now make use of this type of code to get to obviously a digital solution? Well, the first case, I'm going to make the most extreme case that you never used RouteYou. So you're on your smartphone. Well, how do you get to RouteYou? Rein showed you already. You just go to Google. Okay, I typed it very badly, but Google is clever enough to know it's like you're talking about this. So I go to Google and I get one way or the other to the RouteYou mobile website. You're not on the app yet. If you want the app, the easiest way is that you now just click on the main menu and you select install the RouteYou app. I will show you later on the difference, but first of all, you don't even have to install the RouteYou app. It works, all the functionality is also available in the mobile website. The structure of the mobile website and the app is exactly the same as I will show you later on. So how do I now get from this desktop route towards my smartphone, the same route on my smartphone? Well, this code is very handy. You could have scanned the QR code and then you would immediately get to the right result. But this is, we're approaching it more generic now. So I can switch or select the main menu. And in the main menu, you see the option search on site. I can just type in the 4 or the 5 codes of the route. So that's the unique code, and say, well, search. And we immediately detect, oh, this is the weird RouteYou codes. So we know that we're going to send you towards the correct route. So this is the route I just have here as a print. I have them now on smartphone. Of course, a much easier way is that you scan the QR code straight away from a print, or if you would have the route here, you just remember the download button, the second one, you go to the RouteYou app. Also here you have the QR code, scan the QR code, and you will immediately get to on your mobile phone on the same route. So how do you go now further? Well, all the information is the same as on desktop. Here you see the navigate on smartphone button. You can click on that. If you click on this button, you will go to the navigation mode. You could also click on this map button because that brings you to the same solution. I will give you the navigate on smartphone button. And I get to the route. You will see something extra now because that's not on desktop. It's the start button, because that start button, obviously, you can navigate on your smartphone. You have the option to record your route if you're logged in. So you also see on the right top side, I'm logged in. And it's the same user, so you can use with your same account on desktop as on smartphone. You can use your account. It could be a free account or a plus account. In this case, I'm using a plus account for the demonstration. I can even share my position with others if I want to, or unclick this and I just can start. So the system detects where I am. It allows me to indicate the full screen. I would do that on smartphone because I'm simulating it. I'm just going to say no. So the moment I'm here, the system detects where I am. That's the blue dot. You will see if I will move away, and now I have to do it manually. But if I would walk or cycle, automatically it would detect my position, get back to my position and to my orientation. So if I would move, it will follow my position. Some people don't like a flat map. They want a more perspective map. Let's do the perspective. Here's the perspective. And you will see if I start moving, it follows me. It follows my position and I can go straight right or left. I'm quite far away from the route. So, but it's just a matter of if the route would be there, I would see it on the map, of course, and I just follow it and go left, right, as the route will indicate. On the map, or sorry, on the navigation, I can even select not only the perspective, but also a different map. Some people like, for instance, topographic maps. Here's the topographic map. Some people like to show the node network. For instance, this is the cycling node network I'm going to put on top, so I can follow the cycling nodes from one to the other. So I don't even need a route to do this. This gives me an indication, first of all, that I'm too far from the route. Otherwise, it would indicate how far am I versus my start and versus my end. So it will be a green and a red bar. And it gives you also a lot of statistics, which I can click on, or I can use the green button here to go back and forth to all the possible statistics of your route you follow. So you see, you don't even have to download an app. You can go straight from the QR code towards the route. So that's very handy. Of course, if you always have to go via QR code, you probably would like to do what Rein already showed you. This is selecting and searching a route straight from your smartphone. So the QR code is one way, the code is another way. And of course, you can just search, as Rein showed you already, say, well, just discover my route. Well, where? Well, at my current position. And then you will get the routes from your current position. If you can't find it yet, you probably will have to add another kind of keyword or a kind of selection to find it. You just select it, press start, navigate on smartphone, press start, and here you will see that my route is just next to my door, and I can start following the route. And here it indicates already, it's probably projection close to the route, that I'm almost 3 kilometers from the end, and I did already 17 kilometers since the start. So that's the example of using it on smartphone. If you don't like this app, well, there are many more options, because also on your smartphone, you have now the option to download and print and go to or do something else. I can download the GPX, and almost all other apps and also RouteYou can upload GPXs and use them. In this case, you can download them. It's a general GPX, but we even have different other solutions for specific devices, which you can select. I forgot to mention something here. I can use this route, which is again here. So this route is online, but there's an offline option. So I can now download all the necessary data to be able to work offline. So it it takes the track. It also takes the points of interest with pictures and information, and it also takes into account the background maps you have around the area, of course. Otherwise, it would be, if you have to download all the map tiles of the whole world, your phone would start crashing. So that's what you can do here. So we didn't use the app yet. Again, how do you get to the app? You just click on the install the RouteYou app. Depending on your device, if it's an Apple or an Android device, and also depending on the browser you're in, you will have to follow other instructions. Which instructions these are, you will get here. Now I get a kind of problem because I'm on my desktop, so that doesn't work. So this is the mobile website. Let me show you what the difference is with the app. Well, I'm just going to activate the app in another way. Yeah, this is the app. And what's the difference? Well, in structure, it's exactly the same. You see the same buttons, you see the same menu. What's the difference? Well, here you're working in a browser. Here you're not working in a browser anymore. For the rest, it's an app with a button which with the start button on your smartphone. So you can just activate that start button to activate your app. What the app also will do is the moment you would scan a QR code, it will detect, it's like, hey, I also have the app installed already. I'd rather show it to you in the app than in the mobile browser solution. Functionally, it's exactly the same. Also here you can work offline. Also here you can work offline. Here I can log in with my account. This is the same account. You can use it on several devices. That's all working parallel. What's also great is this button, the last viewed button. Sometimes I work on desktop and I quickly want to go on my phone. I just log in on my phone via my app or my mobile website. I just select last viewed, and here I see the last viewed routes I selected. So this is an example of the route I just had. So that's very handy. You can start browsing on your desktop in the evening, and on Sunday morning, if you want to do the route, you just go to your smartphone, log in, select the last viewed, and you're there. Okay, the system detects that I'm Dutch speaking, so that's why he switches to Dutch, back to English in this case. Okay, so that's the mobile device. For people who prefer a GPS system, well, also here you saw that you can download all the different GPS devices. For people who have a Garmin, from your smartphone, you can send it to your Garmin. Technically, that works via Garmin Connect. For people who know Garmin devices, you don't have to worry about that much. And here you can connect if you didn't do that yet. So that's technically Garmin Connect software, which allows you to communicate between the RouteYou mobile website or app and your GPS device. If you have another device, just have a look at all the other options which are there. So that's on smartphone. Of course, also on desktop, you have the information to look into. You also have the download options and the prints we covered already, and the downloads we also had here. Since we have a lot of people from the Netherlands, Belgium, and Germany and France, there something like what is called the node network or knooppunten network is very popular. That's not available yet in UK, although I know people who have plans to do something with that. Let me show you that you can easily search for node routes. So that's routes which are working on the node network. I'm going to clean up my filters. Yeah, that's correct. But I want it on my current area in Brussels. So I just want a cycling route, which is a node route. And this one, let's take this one. It's coming from bikenode.brussels. So it's an organization which created with the community this node network. So the difference is, well, it's a specific network with fantastic routes. Most of the time it's car-free or very slow in traffic. And it's got a numbering system. So it's used a lot in the Benelux. and also in Germany. You will see if I zoom out, it's covering already north of France, biggest parts of Wallonia, Flanders, but also big parts of Germany and the Netherlands. So it's expanding because it's a very easy system to use, because you also have a numbering system for people who like to follow the numbers and not digitally. Well, you can also print, because that print is only available with the node networks. I can print the node strip, and that node strip is the most compact way of, well, getting the instruction how to follow a route. So you see here, that's quite a strip because it has quite a length, 72 kilometers. We also have the compact version, which you can put in your cycling pockets in front of the steering wheel. So that covers the usage of the routes. I'm just going to check with Reen if we had some questions in the meantime.
Not a lot of questions, one, and I answered it, so.
Then we're 5 minutes before our deadline, so that's good. If there are no more questions, I would like to invite you for our next webinars. The next webinars, where you can find them on the main menu. And you will see that you can look for events. So that's good. Most of the time, these are events related to cycling or walking. But in this case, we also add our events, our webinar events. And here's the next one. How can you, no, that's the one of today. Here's the next one. How can you plan a route? If you would like to follow that, please subscribe and then register. If you would like to find something in another language, again, change your main language, but also here I can look for events and say, yeah, but I'm interested in Dutch, don't show me the English, and then you will get the Dutch events which are going on. Thank you very much. And also, Reen, thank you very much for the explanation, and hope to see you very soon. Good evening.
All right.